We've got 2 new champion buffs coming to the game, and we're going to break that down for you today. Welcome in, my name is PJ, and this is another Raid Shadowlands video, and let's get right to it. So the first champion we're going to be talking about is Mountain King. He is a forest champion, attack-based dwarf. He is a very old school champion. Some of you guys might have him, some of you guys might not have him. Guys had him before. He's all single target, that's not changing, but he is going to get some extra little buffs and boost to his kit. So let's look over. So the first thing, his initial, before the change, is attacks one enemy. Very simple. After attacks one enemy, fills the champion's turn meter by 10%, fills an additional 2% for each buff on the target. Nice little turn meter fill. Also, the thing about, one of the things that's happening to this champion that's not shown on the screen here is that his base speed right now is 85 speed, which is super slow, and he's getting a 10 speed buff, so he's going from 85 to 95, so that should help him a little bit. Speed is super meta these days, so just getting a little bump in the base stat should be nice. Hopefully they will do that with Rosin too. Rosin needs a bump in his base speed, it's really slow. But yeah, that's also one thing that they're going to be adding to him is 10 extra speed, so wanted to make sure I added that before we continue. Hold up guys, now is the perfect time to click on my link in the description and get a free Karato as well as 4 more insane free epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Step 1, log out of Player and Play on PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to the inbox and claim your first champion. Don't miss out on your chance to get a free Karato after signing up, as well as Uugo, Rector Drath, Tagoar, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. So click on my link right now and let's crush this together. So that's cool, just getting some more turn meter, gonna help him get around to his moves faster, could pair well with ally attack or counterattack champions. And this dude does, a lot of people run him in counterattack, so I could see that maybe doing some nice synergy. The A2, before attacks on enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense. If you had him, you know this move smacks. Ignoring 50% of the target's defense is really strong, and it has good multipliers, hit really hard. So now what is it going to do? Attacks on enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense, but grants an extra turn if this champion kills the enemy. Nice, really good. Grants extra turn. Extra turns are really strong, really powerful. So being able to cycle through your moves quicker, nothing wrong with that. I like that a lot. That's a cool little bonus. And then we got the A3. Before, attacks on enemy will ignore shield and block damage buffs. And now, attacks on enemy will ignore shield, strengthen, unkillable, eye protection, and block damage. Pretty nice. Decrease the cooldown of the enchanted axe skill by 2 turns if this attack will kill an enemy, so it will reduce the skill cooldown to A2. This move is pretty cool. When I initially saw it, I was thinking I wish it would have ignored Stone Skin, but then I was thinking he's kind of a more go second champion, so maybe the Stone Skin would all fall off by the time that he would go, or the kind of team that he would be in, so maybe ignoring Stone Skin wouldn't that be ideal? I do like the block damage. Ignoring the block damage that's very strong these days. A lot of meta champions have block damage, so being able to ignore that unkillable is also very strong. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about not ignoring Stone Skin or not. At first I wanted, but then I was like, maybe not, just because he's gonna I feel like he's more of a go second nuke or go second team, so kind of maybe makes sense why the Stone Skin would already have fallen off by the time he would take a turn. And I like the synergy between the A3 and the A2. Granting an extra turn. So ideally you would come in first time, do the A2, you would kill someone, grant an extra turn, come in with the A3, kill someone. You wouldn't get an extra turn or anything like that, but you would reduce the skill cooldown on this move. So this would be a 5. I'm not sure if it books down to a 4 or not. We're gonna actually take a quick look here. So yeah, it looks like it's a 5 that books down to a 4. So if you get an extra turn, that goes to a 3. So then they would be at 3 turns, and then go here, kill someone, goes down. So you can almost get back to the A2 like right away almost. If you can heal someone here, you're almost right back to the A2, which is kind of nice. You can cycle those pretty quickly back and forth. And then increase this champion attack by 50% each time this champion kills an enemy, stacks up to 100%. So this is an attack-based champion, but he also does damage off of HP. He has really high HP. His damage is based off of HP and attack, as you can see here. HP attack, HP attack, HP attack. And I think it actually scales more off of HP, so you want to build him with generally high HP and then let his passive make up for the attack, which is kind of cool. So you're going to be boosting your attack a lot, pretty much 100%, which is huge. And then immune to decreased attack and then block active skills. Block active skills is very prevalent nowadays, super strong to counter mythicals. So a lot of teams are running block active. So to be able to ignore that's really nice. And also to be immune to the decreased attack. It kind of makes me think again, go second. They're going to go first. They're going to try to debuff you. they're going to try to put decreased attack, but now he's immune, so you don't have to worry about that. I think he's more of like a go second champion. They're giving him an aura, which is increased at all attack in all battles. I like all battles auras, especially speed, but he's not speed, he's attack, but still good. All battles, not bad, not bad. So how am I feeling about this champion after the buff? I think he's better. Do I think he's gonna be meta now? No. Do I think he could be fun to play with? Yes. Think he's niche? Maybe some live arena or classic arena you could use him. I think in Siege, I'm not sure if there's a dwarf only room or not. But if there is a dwarf only room condition on Siege, this guy could do some work because one big counter to him is UDK. But Siege force or dwarf only, no UDKs. This dude could maybe start running rampant. If you can start getting charged up, get that attack up, start getting those extra turns. A1's filling the turn meter. So I could see him snowballing into hitting really hard and killing. The only issue is that it's all single target and it's not like Rotos where he gets an extra turn or a chance of an extra turn off the A1. So he can't really cycle through his moves that quickly like a Rotos can. He can still cycle through, but not as well. And they are relatively a little bit longer skills than Rotos. So a little bit downside there. I don't think he's going to be anything special, but if you pull him, he might be a little bit better. He could be good for Faction Wars as well. Faction Wars hard. But solid buff. Overall, I like it. I think he's going to be a lot better than he used to be, but I don't think he's going to be anything game-changing meta, at least for the top end. For maybe just casual Gold 5, he could be in some defenses. He's really tanky. His base HP is 31,000, so you can really get him super tanky, maybe make him a little bit slower and just have counterattack accessories on him. I know a lot of people used to run him, I think in Relentless back in the day. I don't think that would necessarily work as well now, but maybe, who knows. He does have the ignore defense on the A2, but not on the A1 or the A3. So probably still want to give him ignore defense, but I do think there could be some more niche things with him, especially if you get the Dwarf Faction Unity. Could be interesting with that as well. So I think there is some things you could do with him. He's a little bit more interesting than he used to be for sure. All right, the next champion we're gonna be looking at is Blind Seer. Let's see what they did to her. So she's a Void champion, support Dark Elves. So before, let's take a look at the A1. Attacks 3 times at random. Each has a 30% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 15. Books up to 25. It goes to a attacks 3 times at random. Each it has a 80 books up to 100% chance of decrease. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they necessarily had to take away that 5 turn meter. I think a 15% turn meter at random, 100% chance would have been fine. Allure has something similar to that. She needs to be critical, but she's also an epic. She's a Void legendary, so I don't think it would have been that crazy. Let's take a look at the A2. Places a block debuff buff on allies for 2 turns, then places a shield buff on all allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. Goes to heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. Also places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, and then places a shield buff on all allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. Definitely a lot better than it used to be. Heal, shield, block debuffs. I like how it's off of her max HP versus the person getting its max HP, because that sometimes is. And if it's, let's say, an attack nuker, then they're not gonna get any shield because you don't build HP, where you're gonna build her with a lot of HP, so she's gonna give them a nice shield, a nice healing. Maybe some type of cleanse would have been nice in here. I like it, but I feel like nowadays cleansing and having a cleanse is really important in a supports kit, so kind of stinks there's no cleanse, but a heal, shield, block debuffs for 2 turns. Solid, definitely better than it used to be. And we'll take a look at the A3. So before, it revives all dead allies with 35% HP, places a block damage buff on all allies except this champion's for 1 turn. This champion will receive damage equal to 50% of their max HP. Will happen even if this kills a champion. Ascended revives dead allies by 35%, places block damage buff on allies except this champion. So that's to the old one. They're changing it to this. Revives all dead allies by 35% HP, so that stays the same. Places block damage buff on allies except this champion, that stays the same. Here it goes a little bit different. So now when it's ascended, revives all dead allies by 50% HP, which is a lot better. Then also 30% turn meter, which is huge. Also places a block damage buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. Also, they're reducing it by a book too. It used to be 6 turns, now it's going to be a 5 turn. I'm guessing going to book down to a 4 turn. So that's a lot better. It's really rough nowadays having a revive without turn meter. A lot of the new revivers have turn meter built into their revives, which is nice because what used to happen, let's say with an older reviver, they would revive someone, They would fully revive the team, but there's no turn meter. The other team would go before them, and then they would just kill them again. Where now, when you have turn meter built into the revive, you have a chance of going before they do and getting an attack off or getting another support to heal or something like that. So having turn meter in the revive is super clutch nowadays, so I do like that. Overall, she's definitely better. I still don't know if she feels like a void legendary to me. I'm not like, I wouldn't be very happy if I pulled her. I don't know if anyone would be super happy if they pulled her even after. I think they could still work her kit a little bit. Not having a cleanse really hurts. The other thing about her is she has one of the highest base speeds in the game, if not the highest. She has a 115 base speed, at least for non-mythicals. I'm not sure about mythicals, but I think for legendary she has the highest, or one of the highest base speeds. And then when we look at her kit, outside of the reviving, she has no turn meter boosting, she has no increased speed. So it just kind of doesn't make sense when you have this super fast champion but doesn't have a way of really boosting or speeding up your team outside of them dying, and then you can give them a 30% turn meter boost. But you don't want them dying. You want them to go first ideally and to kill the other team. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Definitely better than it used to be. Overall, I kind of feel like these buffs are more for Polarium than they are for the player base. And what I mean by that is these champions, especially Blind Seer, I'm not sure about Mountain King, but Blind Seer, at least in the early hard faction war stages, shows up quite often. So I think they're trying to buff bad champions, but also they're buffing, whenever they buff bad champions, they're also making wave content harder. Think about Jing Wang. Jing Wang used to be not very desirable, pretty bad. No one really liked him. And he was in wave content. No one really thought about him. They buffed him, and now he's a menace in wave content. I could kind of see something similar to that. I feel like in the players' hands, these champions might not be the strongest, but when they're in the waves, I think they can be really annoying. And that's also, they have way more stats. They're level like 300 plus when they're in waves versus our level 70. So they just get way more stats, which makes them feel a lot better than when we get them, even though we have masteries and we have gear on them as well. Generally, I think this is kind of more of like a Polarium when they kind of, I think they're trying to buff some champions that we're going to see in waves and just make wave content a little bit harder. Overall though, I do like the changes. I think they're better than they used to be. I like Mountain Kings. I think Blind Seers could use a little bit more. I still don't think she really feels like a void legendary. The revive is going to be super annoying going against in faction wars. I can see that. Make sure you target her early, because if she gets this up, it's going to be tough to come back from that unless you have something going through block damage or stripping, removing the buffs. It's gonna be annoying though. I think she's gonna be annoying to face, but not necessarily that annoying, or not that good if we get her. And then Mountain King, I could see him being kind of fun. I don't think you would really use him shoot for the best, but I think he'd be more for like, I want to go around and just kill some people with Mountain King. I want to mess with Mountain King. I want to see how hard he can hit and just have some fun. So I feel like he's more of a have fun champion more than like a super meta champion. And then Blind Seer, I think this is our second buff. Better than it was, but maybe could still use a little bit of tweaks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a like, leave a comment, hit that sub button, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace!